Good afternoon, fellow ruminators. Welcome back to another session, Rumination with Andrew. Thank you so much for joining as we are about to discuss a very important topical matter. And this afternoon, we are going to look at the title, TNT, that's Trinidad and Tobago, Dragon Gas Deal Exposes U.S. Power Play, Guyana 2%, West takes 98% of Guyanese oil and gas from the revenues that they earn therefrom. The Dragon Gas Agreement between Trinidad and Venezuela is reigniting tensions between Washington and Caracas. As the United States tries to control the region's energy flow, Trinidad is caught between its Caribbean neighbor and American sanctions. At the same time, Guyana's oil store reveals another form of exploitation, receiving just 2% of profits, while Western corporations walk away with a whopping 98%. In this powerful discussion, Andrew Tucker, that's me, and Gerald Perreira expose how both situations reflect the same Western playbook, control the Caribbean's natural resources while keeping regional nations divided and dependent. Watch next. The West wants our oil or gold, rather, with me, that's a discussion between me and Fred Corbin. Now, we are going to be joined now by Mr. Pereira, and I will have him now enter the studios here to speak on this very important matter. Let's join Mr. Pereira. And Mr. Pereira is joining us from Guyana. Good good morning. Good morning, Mr. Pereira.
Good morning, my brother.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm good, thank you. I'm
Yes,
fine.
thank you so
Yes.
much. Were
Yes.
you able to join yesterday on Wilmer's program? I was waiting for you, but he said he was having technical
Yes,
difficulties.
we had a power outage
Okay, for
to
that
shut
reason.
down there, but yeah.
Yes, but you were
But I
there.
was able I went on. I was able to come in later.
Oh, because I think that by that time I'd hopped off because I was really looking to listen to you
Yeah.
to your thesis. Now, Mr. Pereira, we're dealing with this morning's topic is going to be the dragon gas situation and Guyana's oil and gas, agreement with, these multinational corporations. Now, Mr. Pereira, do you see the dragon gas deal as part of a wider U.S. strategy to control the Caribbean's energy sector?
Definitely. Definitely. Uh when you look at when Marco Rubio was here and he was in Trinidad and they give the green light for that deal to go ahead with their Dragon deal.
Mm-hmm.
But the Trump administration they have the sanctions on Venezuela, and they've made it clear that to the Prime Minister of Trinidad that the idea is to make sure that the Maduro regime, as they refer to it, in no way benefit or it contributes to their longevity. So it's a trade-off.
Mm-hmm. Which, which,
Uh,
which, which it's impossible to suggest that he's a president of the country
yes,
and he's
yeah,
not going to benefit in one way or another. So I
that's right.
think that it's about regime change. They're
That's right.
hoping that by time that Dragon Gas deal is reestablished, that the president would have been deposed. What do you say?
Yeah, well, I agree with you. Uh, a few days ago, I think 2 days ago, Trump said that now they've finished, they're not going to concentrate on the hitting boats out in the sea.
Mm-hmm.
They will focus towards hitting the cartels on the land,
Yes.
which means this is about bombing, attacking Venezuela from the air, and if possible, a ground assault.
Yes.
And Trinidad, the government of Trinidad, the neo-colonial regime of
Mm-hmm.
Camille
Person.
Bissessa,
Mm-hmm.
and the Ali regime, neo-colonial regime in Guyana, they have given the green light. They are willing pawns of this naked fascism because this is going to set, as one brother from the Caribbean says, going to set the Caribbean ablaze.
It is going to set us ablaze.
It's going to set ablaze, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
history is not going to be kind to Kamala Biseso and to President Ali of Guyana.
Yes. Now, why do
These, yeah,
but
go ahead.
why do you think Washington feels so threatened by Venezuela's partnership with Trinidad on this gas project?
Because they see it as part of prolonging the life of the Maduro regime. That's how they see it. But the thing is this, you know, our leaders, you know, they need, as I said, CARICOM, we should have one solid voice on this. But as we have seen, Guyana and Trinidad have broken ranks. And when Maurice Bishop reminded us that we are in nobody's backyard, although that's how the Americans see us. But these two leaders are actually saying to the Americans, yes, we are in your backyard and you can do what you like.
Yes.
And, you know, this is aimed at, the whole thing is aimed at strangling the Venezuelan economy more, and with the final objective of regime change. The last time I was on this show with you, I did mention something, but I did not elaborate on it. You know, recently, let me start here. There is a group of Indo-Caribbean nationals, and I don't want people to misread me.
Yes.
The majority of them, they come out of Trinidad as well as Guyana. I'm not going to call names, but there are quite a number of them.
Yes.
They have a paper that is called the Indo-Caribbean paper, or something like that, comes out of New York. One of them, he has been advocating for the past couple of years that Guyana should become a state of America. And another one, who is a colleague and friend and comrade of it, advocated for American military base in Guyana, and keeps referring to Maduro, President Maduro, as Mad Maduro. But interestingly, they don't say anything about Mad Trump.
Yes.
You know, there's a Caribbean saying, monkey knows what limb to jump up.
Correct.
You know, but
well, they're on his side. Well, they're on, they're on his side.
So it's not surprising to see Biseso taking this position, because this group of Indo-Caribbean ethnic supremacists, they have always stood with the empire and defended the empire. And they're so, you know, they're they openly advocate that we should be, like, Guyana should become a state of the United States, and that the Americans should have, they give a flag wave to the Americans to interfere in the region. So, you know, it's not just a coincidence or accident that you have what is taking place in Guyana similar to what you're seeing in
Trinidad. And also, for the context of those who are watching from Jamaica, the same thing happens. The GLP tends to lean towards the Americans to, you know, in terms of directing their sojourn in the leadership.
That's right. Well, the GLP has always been, ever since US. Going back to the days of Edward Seago. That's right. Edward Seago.
Yes, absolutely. and you're right, because even on my videos, I have another channel called Caribbean Latin American News Now, and many of my attackers are the Indo-Guyanese and Indo-Trinidadians. They are the ones saying, why are you dividing us? We should not. I said, I don't look at you in terms of your race or ethnic background. I'm looking at principles. Yes,
that's
principles.
Expected.
Yes. Now, Mr. Perreira, how does this fit into the U.S. history, which I think of using sanctions and diplomacy to pressure small nations into compliance?
Well, you know, we talk about this international rules-based order, and the Americans of the United States has always used its military and economic power to sanction and to destroy countries, economies that that refuse to submit to American bullyism. They've seen this going years back. Look at what when Grenada was building the airport, the Americans were saying, well, the airport is a threat to U.S. security, to the national security. And that airport was tourism, you know, because anybody who know Grenada years back then, aircraft could not go in at night. You had to go in the day. And that airport, when it was being built with the assistance, technical assistance from Cuba, and financial contributions were made by countries like, I can recall the countries that contributed financially. Libya was one. Syria did contribute a certain amount, as well as Iraq. I think Maurice Bishop pointed that out. That's pointed out in his book, Selected Speeches.
Yes.
But the Americans have always wanted to dictate to us who should be our friends, who we should associate with, and who we should not have economic and trade relations with, or diplomatic relations with. And they've been doing that for years. They've been doing that for years.
Yes.
Even when the Americans when they were supporting apartheid in South Africa, and we in Jamaica under Manley, Guyana under Forbes Burnham, and Errol Barrow in Barbados were making their contribution to the fight for liberation of the frontline states. The United States was exerting pressure on Guyana, Barbados, and Jamaica.
Yes.
You know, the pressure Barbados eventually, I think, gave in to the planes refueling, and then Guyana picked up the slack and they started refueling in Guyana. And they threatened Burnham that they will bomb the airport, our main airport.
And then Manley lost to Boston Manley.
Manley was destabilized. Yes, they were going to get correct. So this is something been going on for decades. This is how they operate.
Correct.
And if you go against, and they make sure that they are one way or the other install client regimes. That's what they do.
Now, it leads me to the other question, which many people don't understand. And I would like you, as a more experienced and seasoned veteran, to answer this question. Do you believe Caribbean governments truly understand the geopolitical game being played, or are they just reacting to U.S. pressure?
I believe it's both. I think some don't really understand, and I think there are those who understand, but are just cowards.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
I mean, how can we have ad which is out? We're saying that Henry Kissinger said that to be America's friend is dangerous, you know, but also to be a friend of America is also fatal.
It's fatal, yes.
Yeah. And remember, he said America has no permanent friends,
but interests, yes.
And permanent enemies on interest. So if these leaders, or most of them misleaders, don't learn from that, well, then when are you going to wake up? But they are basic. But you see, the answer to this, my brother, is these political parties, the main political parties, the major political parties across the region, they only mobilize people when it's election times. There is no solid organization on the ground, you know, apart from party groups. But if those parties, the main parties across the region, had reached out to the people and really let the people of the Caribbean know what is happening, I mean, the answer is not just leaders standing up. The masses across the Caribbean must stand up.
Yeah, and I'm not just going to blame our politicians here. What is academia doing? The University of the West Indies, they are silent on every matter, and just they only give, like, you know, some sound bites here and there, but there is no structure, there is nothing coming from them. What do you have to say about academia?
I agree with you 100%. It's the same thing in Guyana with the University of Guyana. There is nothing coming out of the Department of Social Sciences and Humanities.
That's it.
I'm aware, you know it, in the 70s, 80s, and up to 90s, you had radical scholarship, and I'm using radical here to mean to get to the root, Latin,
Yes.
of the issues. And we had people, the Trevor Farrells
Monroe's,
and
yes. Yes.
the Lloyd Besses and those people, right? The Tapia House, the New Begin. We had those people, and in Guyana too, you had that. That is lost, and I think what is happening over the years, we have witnessed the neoliberalization
Correct.
of the university. You know,
Correct.
when you have a wealthy businessman or representatives, powerful individuals in the private sector being made pro-chancellor, so the university or whatever, then you know something is wrong.
Yes. Yes.
You know something is wrong.
Yes.
And so yes, it is not coming out from the university. Academia is silent, other than a few one and two voices here. But the same thing goes in the University of Guyana. You have people doing first degree, an entire major in international relations, and yet you're not getting this type of discussion coming out about the U.S. hegemony and what is happening in the Caribbean.
Yes. Because we only lay the foundation that the British were our former colonial masters, but we don't talk about the U.S. having succeeded Great Britain. So what they're doing down in Jamaica, for example, they're having a whole discussion in terms of moving into Republican status. But how can we, when we are not even free economically and politically, how are we going to become a republic?
That's right. You see, you can move from being under the crown and then to Republican status.
Under the
US.
That
doesn't, yes, or that's right. But that doesn't mean that there will be fundamental changes in the political system, the governance system, as well as the economic order.
Yes.
You won't, because, and I always see it, brother. This is the way I see it, is that we need to differentiate between form and substance.
Absolutely.
And so we end up being we're just neo-colonial regimes, because at the end of the day, very important and strategic decisions about our countries, our domestic, as well as our foreign policy, is dictated to us.
Yes, I call us colonial outposts. We are part of the American regime, whether we like it or not. Indirectly.
I agree.
It might not be directly, but it's indirectly. So go ahead.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. So that's why we speak about, and in Trinidad years ago, the National Movement for True Independence spoke about this. We still have to complete the struggle for true independence.
Absolutely.
What we got, is what Walter Rodney called briefcase independence. We call it the flag and anthem independence.
Yes, but I've also criticized what's his name, Orlando Patterson, a Jamaican scholar at Harvard University. You don't hear him talking about these things. In fact, he's more telling us about what he read in the latest book, but there is no connection to what is happening on the ground. And, in fact, he seems to be okay with the IMF and the World Bank, and he seems to quote their stats ad nauseum without putting all of these things into proper context. What do you have to say?
No, but, Orlando Patterson, if you go back years ago, Orlando Patterson was never part of that radical scholarship.
I got you.
In the Caribbean, like Norman Gorvan, Clive Thomas, or some of our political socialists. No, he, I think he was just, his writings have been more, he's never been able to really point to the fundamental contradiction that we face. And he's never been hard on imperialism and colonialism, other than in some areas where obviously even the most conservative or liberal scholars would identify. But the IMF and the World Bank, no, he has never been critical of those as such. And
I've read radical statements, probably perhaps not radical books,
yes,
but radical statements from him before he went to Harvard. I think
yeah,
it was when he went to Harvard that his political activism stopped, because you
yeah,
can't be at these institutions and be a political activist in the real sense of the word, because
yeah,
your scholarship is controlled by the elites, you know,
yeah.
and so I think that is where he falls short.
Yeah, well, a number of Caribbean writers, Caribbean thinkers have been critical of Orlando Patterson.
Yes,
And
yes.
I agree with you that if you go to Harvard, Yale, or the so-called Ivy League, you have to
To the line. Yeah.
toe the line.
Yes.
So much academic freedom, and so you know some of the great American political theorists, and so they were not able. A man like Herbert Apthew, who's a great U.S. historian, wrote a
Mm-hmm.
book called Democracy. One of his books, excellent
Mm-hmm.
text,
Mm-hmm.
Democracy and Democracy, Freedom, and the State.
Mm-hmm.
He was denied jobs in U.S. universities. Then
Wow.
you have people like Michael Parenti, who wrote
Yes. Mm-hmm. He's a great
Democracy
scholar.
for the Few.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
yes,
Norman Finkel, is it Finkelson?
yes, that
Yes.
normal thing. That's
Yes,
right.
these people
That's
are
right.
brilliant, and they won't
That's
give
right.
them a tenured professorship. Now we
That's
have
right.
to move on though, Mr. Pereira. We
Yes.
have the Guyanese situation now. Guyana is reportedly receiving, based on what I have read, you can correct me,
Yeah.
only 2% of its oil profits, while Western corporations take 98%. Would you say this represents a new form of colonialism? Is it true? Is
Yes.
it true that they only
It
get?
is.
Okay.
It is. It
Yes.
is. You know, we in the Organization for the Victory of the People, we refer to it as uh we call it investment, invitation to
Mm-hmm.
plunder. It's
Mm-hmm.
an invitation to plunder.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Guyana received 2% royalty from Exxon.
Yes.
Now, royalty is defined as a payment made by the extractors of our natural resources
Mm-hmm.
to the rightful owners of the wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And who are the rightful owners of this wealth?
The people, yes.
Yeah, you know, and on it, Exxon, they have reduced 75% of the oil as cost,
Mm-hmm.
and sharing 12.5% with Guyana's profit.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a so-called consultation that ExxonMobil had early last year. And I got up and I addressed them. I identified myself, and when I spoke about what they were doing, I told them, I said that the day will come when we will tell you to leave this country, and we will deal with those who invited you, right? Whose side one of the worst deals in the history of oil and gas industry in Guyana.
Mm-hmm.
And they clipped the mic, they cut off the mic on me.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
because it was, they clipped off the mic. But we went on and we said what we had to say. But the thing is, the thing about it is, the then government that signed this lopsided oil deal, the APNU, Partnership for National Unity Government, of
Mm-hmm.
which plus AFC, the Alliance for Change,
Yes.
of which the PNCR, the People's National Congress Reform, is the largest component in that umbrella organization.
Mm-hmm.
They signed that deal. And in the run-up to the 2020 elections, the present Vice President of Guyana, Barry Jagdeo, said that if they win office, they will renegotiate the oil contract. And I was on a program, and the question was put to me if I think they would. And I said, no, they would not. And the person who was interviewing me asked me why I said no. And I put it in a nutshell. I said, it's simple. I said, all of these guys are scared of white people. That's how I put it.
No, and you're correct. In Jamaica, the same thing happens. We talk a lot about how we are that and to white people, but we are afraid. When they enter the room, we are afraid of them. And we do whatever they ask us to do. And I'm happy that you are confirming that, because I've been saying that for a long time now. You know?
Brother, a former senior official told me that he went into a meeting and the way he was treated, I know it. they are afraid of them.
They are.
And I think one of the reasons why they keep us out and the OVPs like untouchables is because I'm afraid of no damn white man.
I don't care
The
who you are.
only entity I'm afraid of is my creator. Because he
Absolutely.
will decide what he will do with my
Absolutely.
soul on the day of judgment.
Absolutely. Now, Mr. Pereira, one of the things too that I want people to understand, since this gas, and oil and gas discovery in Guyana, the cost of living has soared.
Skyrocketed.
Absolutely. Could you
Yes.
explain that? Why? And why is
Well,
the
we
government
said
not
it.
using subsidies? Why are they not subsidizing people's food? Go ahead.
We said it. We said that once we become this big oil and gas producing nation, this is what is going to happen. Because, suddenly now there's so much speculation. The rents have gone up, house rent.
Food.
Houses that normally used to rent, let's say, an apartment that used to rent for 75,000 Guyana dollars a month is now like gone up to 175,000 and all of that.
Wow.
Yes, this is what is going on, and some people are just building apartments and renting them out. So it's in the supermarkets, the prices have gone up, and the wages that you have are starvation wages. It's pittance. It's nothing. Because, and we did say, you see, oil and gas, this is what people need to understand. Having oil and gas wealth is not going to make you, what do you make? A wealthy nation.
Yes.
I can point to countries that have been producing oil and gas for decades, and yet they've not been able to close the gap between the have and the have not.
Correct.
And narrow the income inequalities. No. The countries that were able to do that was because of the social and political system they have, and the Western countries destroyed those countries. Iraq was one. Do you know Iraq had one of the highest standard of living in the world in the global South?
They did.
Yes, you would know this before the war with Iraq. Libya, at the time of its destruction, I lived in Libya and I saw it.
Yes.
I saw it.
Yes.
To fill a car was next to nothing. I never paid for health care. My children went to school without paying. It was a high standard of living and essentials, because the proceeds from the oil wealth was not being expropriated by a
multinational
few or the multinationals. You could see it. And that is why they destroy them. Now, the same thing in Guyana. Those who are wealthy are becoming more wealthy. They're getting wealthier.
Yeah.
Right?
Including the government, including the
government. Yeah, because what you have is a collaboration between foreign capital, right, and this bureaucratic state bourgeoisie, the bureaucratic bourgeoisie. Absolutely. Those who don't own the means of producing wealth, but because of their position in the state apparatus, they can facilitate all these deals and get cutbacks, and through it enrich themselves. And
go ahead.
Yes, and many ministers and so, they have front companies and so set up in the names of their relatives, and so this is what they do. And those are the people who are benefiting from the wealth. And it doesn't matter. It does not matter which political party gets into office, not power. Not power. It's a different thing. It doesn't matter which political party gets into office, because they're just getting there to manage the system. Just to manage it. It's not about dismantling it or carrying out transforming it in such a way that the 99% can benefit.
They're managing it for the global
1%.
Yes, and the domestic oligarchs, right? Now, how can Caribbean nations renegotiate or resist these exploitative deals without facing economic or political backlash?
Well, we got to get back, I think, in these deals, and I think this is where the government of Guyana went wrong. I think that when we're entering into these negotiations, we should do it within all this talk about the Caribbean single market economy and all of that.
Yeah.
We should, even if Barbados don't produce oil and gas, let us all come together and negotiate as one.
Yes.
Irrespective of who, right?
Who's in
possess
power?
the oil or the
Yes,
gas or what.
yes,
This
yes.
is what we should do.
Mm-hmm.
But no, Guyana believes it can talk to the empire, and win the empire over and become a friend of it. And we can make deals or enter into arrangement behind the back of the other CARICOM sister states.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work like that. It does
Because
not work like that, because we are talking about things like, with one voice, we're talking about food sovereignty, food security, the challenges we face at climate change and all of that. But when it comes to the oil and gas, Trinidad goes and makes a little deal with Rubio, and
mm-hmm.
Guyana does the same.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. Now, do you think the CARICOM bloc is failing to act collectively? That's what you're saying when it comes to defending regional resource sovereignty. I think that's what you're saying exactly. But Mr. Perreira, they're using this vocabulary all the time. Energy security. Everything that they use is this security, national security, energy security.
Yeah.
What do you get from that terminology, security?
This you're right. All this about energy security, and you've been hearing this on national security. Security for who?
That's it.
Yeah, I think what it is, this whole thing about energy security and national security, is about making the Caribbean region a place very friendly, if you want to use that term,
Mm-hmm.
for foreign capital to come in
Mm-hmm.
and root the hell out of us and
That's
do
it.
what they want.
That's it.
That is what it is essentially about. Because since we have been producing oil and gas, like yesterday, we are having regular power outages. And over the years, we've been talking about new turbines, and we bought new turbines. We bought this from the Dominican Republic and all of that. And we claim that we spend millions on this and millions of US on this. And then the same thing is happening. I can remember the first time that we started having power outages was around 1970 something. I was in the 1970, this 1973, the early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
I was somewhere in my early 20s. And this is 2025.
Yes. Yes.
This is 2025.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, at least under President Burnham, we didn't have the oil and gas wealth.
Mm-hmm.
He was under pressure, but we did things with the money that the proceeds we got from bauxite and sugar and rice. We were able to implement free education, and we weren't paying for water and all of that, and energy bills were not so high.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, before Burnham died, the Libyan government was about to enter into arrangement where they would supply us with oil below the market price and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Do over the Georgetown Hospital, help us with border security and so on. And then he died and all of that. When Desmond Hoyt came in, all of that was rolled back because the IMF, the World Bank, and the US started applying pressure on the Hoyt regime that made tremendous concessions to the IMF, the World Bank, and to the US.
Mm-hmm.
We started selling off state assets for next to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then we downsized the army by 2 battalions. And what happened was, when we started to sell off state assets, the people that had the money to buy the state assets were the rich Indian capitalist class.
Yes, yes.
They were the people who were able to buy it. And when you downsize the army by 2 battalions, the people who went home were African Guyanese.
Yes.
This was a reality.
Yes. Now,
reality.
Could you also, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to speak to the Indo-Guyanese and the Indo-Trinidadians to let them understand that the US and the West only see them as Guyana and Trinidad, people of color. Let them understand that they're not seeing them through the ethnic and racial, but they will use it to divide us. But at the end of the day, they don't respect us. Go ahead, Mr. Perreira.
You're right. That is what they did. We are seen as, Africans and Indians, we are peoples of 2 great civilizations.
Absolutely.
And I think Indo-Caribbean people need to understand they should read the works of Dr. Ambedkar and the so-called untouchables, the Dalits.
Mm-hmm.
The Dalits have been discriminated against, and Indians need to see themselves as part of the non-white race,
Mm-hmm.
and that Black constitutes is made up of both Indians and Africans.
Mm-hmm.
And many Indians come here. So
Yes.
yeah, but also our experiences, historical experiences are different. I think that a lot of Indo-Caribbean people have always treated, I'm not saying all, but a lot, and that's subjective statement, a lot has treated the Caribbean as a temporary home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, while the African had no choice. We see it as this is permanent.
Yes.
This is permanent because many Indo-Guyanese have migrated to the United States, to Canada, and to the United Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. This has been always a tactic used by the imperial power to divide and not just rule, but to divide and rule. This
Yes.
is what they've done. And they're good at playing that. They played it in Guyana. It was used in Guyana,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yes.
to divide the anti-colonial struggle
Mm-hmm.
for independence. And today we are still dealing with that. We're
Yes.
still there.
Yes.
We're still there.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Perreira. And I would like others, if you would like to hear Mr. Perreira on a live show, so you can pose your question to him, make sure that you comment in the comment section that you would like to see him on a YouTube live, where we'll go live and talk about some of the problems affecting the region, CARICOM, and the wider region and the world at large. Please let me know in the comment section. Thank you again, Mr. Perreira. It was a lovely discussion, and it's just a pity we can't extend the conversation, but we'll see each other on another one, another
Welcome.
topical
Thank you.
matter.
Thank you,
Mr.
my brother.
Perreira.
Anytime.
Same to you, and all the best to you, sir.
All the best. Yes.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining again. Make sure that you like, you share, and you subscribe to the program. Subscribe, and remember now to leave in the comment section whether or not you'd like to hear Mr. Perreira on, or you'd like to see him on a live program with me. Thank you so much, and have a fantastic day. See you. Bye-bye.